Okay, looks like we're good to go. Everything's in order. Connection's good. Microphone is good. Hey everybody. Some people arrived in the chat early before I started. Gator, Math, Alex, Kai, Frosty, Justice, hey White, Arthur, Streamer streaming again. Yes, welcome everyone, welcome back. It's been a hot minute since we've done a stream. Wasn't able to stream the Pro-Am last weekend, unfortunately, but we're back. Hope everyone's doing good today, though. Guess what you're doing? You're watching me stream. And/or playing Overwatch, maybe? I don't know. Making dinner? There's a lot of things. Math with the 10 gifted right off the rip. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Math. Jeez. Actually going through with his promise on Twitter. My man. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. You're crazy. Never have to do those things, but you do anyway. I appreciate it, my man. Anyone who got a gift membership from Math, be sure to thank him. Hey, Chara. Did you like my video idea? Honestly, I don't remember what the idea was. My apologies for that. Is it something I did? I don't remember. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for the late birthday present. Appreciate it, man. Bakes here, Owl Guy. Watching you and translating leaves AMA. Ah, okay, nice. We'll just give it a few moments and then we'll get started. Honestly, Ethan, I wouldn't put too much thought into it. It's the preseason. Let's just see what happens in the regular season. They looked good. They did better than expected, but it's preseason. You can never put too much stock into it. It's a good sign, but just approach it cautiously, some cautious optimism. Tim Horton gave you iced coffee but forgot to put ice in it? Jeez. Hey, Bake, thanks for the 2, man. Every player to win a grand finals and what they did to contribute to their team that season. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid idea. Honestly, maybe someday I can get to that. Will there be another Pro-Am? Maybe in the future. You know what's funny? Since the new support changes came into effect, can't get a support game when queuing flex. Oh yeah, same.
You make sure to stream when my paycheck hits, huh?
Thank you, Bake. I appreciate that. Also, my little dono goal thing is not working. That's lame. That is upsetting. Maybe it doesn't keep track of super chats. You're in the back of the van currently. Imagine having to justify Nevix helping Shock win a title. To be fair, he kind of helped Choi a little bit with playing Sig. Tayo is a bit closer, yeah, literally did not play. Driving back home from Ireland? Gotcha. Yeah, we're just chilling though, chat. We're just chilling. I had a good birthday on Saturday. I got a little bit of a makeover with my room. I, got painted for the first time in like over 10 years. Got a new chair. Penguin, if he ever arrives, will be disappointed. The old chair has been retired for a new gamer chair. But yeah, other than that, it's been pretty good. The worst player for every franchise. That might be a little too toxic. But I think Soul Dynasty will be good. I think they can be decent. Where was I? I was going to look at my thing here. Where's goal? I guess I'll have to manually keep track of the super chats. I guess it only keeps track of things that are done through Streamlabs, which kind of sucks. The season starts April 27th, I believe. You're tired? Understandable. Hey, Thor's here. What's up, man? The Cuffle thing, I believe, was an April Fool's joke, yeah. A Snillo statue outside In and Out. Hey, Jimbo. Alright, looks like everyone's kind of, who's decided to tune in is getting here now. Weather's pretty warm where I live. Yeah, it's starting to get warm here as well. I have all the windows open. It's hot today, man. Although it's going to be cold, like, next week, which is crazy. April's wild in Connecticut. Chicken Bunny says, jeez. Have the Hunters released a team reveal? No. They have not. Okay. I think it's about time we dive straight into today's agenda. A live version of what I learned about every team. People are asking me, should I do one for the Pro-Am? Should I not? I was like, I don't know if it's really worth doing one in video form. But I felt, and maybe a stream version of it would be a bit more appropriate. It's preseason, so it's not worth it to take it too seriously in my eyes, but it's still content nonetheless, and it was a pretty good event that's worth discussing a bit more than what I did in my video. Have the Hunters revealed anything? No. They're basically dead. At this point, I might as well manage them. Lol. So goal is to do one thing I learned for every Overwatch League team that participate in the Pro-Am. Technically, I could talk about the contenders teams, but they're more so not the focus because now they're not going to be a part of anything. So I'm going to mainly focus on the OWL teams. We can maybe briefly talk about interesting things about the other teams if you guys wanted to, but I think it's more appropriate to just talk about the OWL teams. You think OWL should have a preseason? Yeah, I mean, basically what we got was a preseason with Pro-Am, and I think it's a great way to get people excited. It's a great way to get people back into the swing of things. It's off-season content. Get you, you know, a little preview of your favorite teams and players. I think it's just an all-around good idea to have a preseason. It doesn't hurt. Obviously, it's not going to do as well as like a regular season or a playoff, but it'll get people interested. It'll keep people from, you know, completely tuning out. See, that's probably the general consensus, I'd say. I thought Pro-Am was a pretty big success. I can't really complain. What's up, Lunar? You can't really complain with how Pro-Am went. It was content. We had some fun results for sure. Tier 2 got some time in the spotlight with a couple of wins against OWL teams. You really can't complain. That's my opinion anyhow. I don't think it hurts to do a preseason at all. I think they need to do more of these in the future. I thought the group stage had its moments. Did people know about the money thing? Oh yeah, I'd completely forgotten. So Mr. Thor wants to bring back the banned Thor Wars. He is quite interested in having a round 2 as the entire community attempts to ban him. For those of you who remember, you remember. But also, on top of that, there's going to be some incentives involved today. Obviously, I don't expect you to donate anything, to give anything, but we have a couple of little incentives with the stream today, including some possible new channel emotes, as well as an Overwatch League trading card opening, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. I gotta save up for vacation, rip. So yeah, anything that goes toward today's stream will go towards new channel emotes and potentially an Overwatch League card opening again. Yeah, I agree. Redbird versus Houston was hilarious. But also, you know, we had that Trick Room versus Shock win. I thought Twisted Minds beating New York was pretty good. Obviously, New York's not the greatest team, but still, it's fun to always see a contenders team win in those situations. Yeah. So let's get started. I've stalled long enough for sure. We have 13 teams to cover. I'm not going to do the contenders teams unless you want to hear my opinions after. I'm going to go in order of how teams did in the groups, which means that first is Vegas Eternal, who won just a single map in this entire tournament, or group stage, I should say. And it came in like a troll pick situation against London. And the thing that I learned about Vegas is, I mean, it's pretty obvious. They have a lot of work to do. It's preseason. It's not worth taking too much of it seriously. But the fact that they had lost to Samito's team like a couple weeks prior in the World Cup trials thing, and the fact that they couldn't beat the Valiant, who literally formed like 2 weeks before the Pro-Am started, like, that's not exactly the best look, to say the least. It's kind of sad that they can't beat a team that just formed when they've been together even before OWL started. A lot of their players played together in contenders and actually had good results. So, yeah, it's kind of scary. Even if it is just preseason, that is a little scary to see how uninspiring they play. Mouthful is so much fun to watch for all the wrong reasons. Like the Genji was certainly not it, and a lot of their strats in general felt very weird. They were obsessed with Brig, which I don't quite understand. And outside of like a few okay plays, there really wasn't much to see. They played badly in pretty much every game. Weren't very competitive at all. I ban myself if we go over the goal by 20. Every $10, one emote. First two are already decided. Third is community choice. If I don't get banned, but this is just a test run. All right, Thor, fair enough. There you have it. Other than that, I don't really think there's much else to say about Vegas. It's pretty cut and dry. There's maybe reason to be pretty concerned about how the season goes. They might just be the clear-cut worst team in the entire league. Even if we know nothing about Chengdu, still, they might be worse than Chengdu anyway, which is horrifying. ATP's forehead. We could do a forehead emote. Maybe. Okay, so that's Eternal for you. Cross it off the board. They stunk. The next team... Hold on, my OBS like died for a second. I'm sorry about that. Oh, nope. My OBS crashed for a second. That's my bad. Thor, thank you for the 10. Oh, look at Thor. Thor is... Alright, so for donation goals, for every $10, we're going to get a new channel emote. There's 3 new emotes we have in the works. We have an ATP Monka S that'll be coming after stream. I'll add it for memberships. So yeah, new emotes for all of our members out there. Thank you very much, Thor.
Unlocking ATP Monkas for you, chat. You're welcome.
Appreciate that, Thor. Where was I? I lost my train of thought because my OBS died. Will this be uploaded later? Yep, the VOD will be available for you to check out. So we went over Vegas. I think it's appropriate next to either do Valiant or NYXL. I guess we'll just get Valiant out of the way. They're probably the less interesting team. Maybe just some of you, they'll be the more interesting team. But my one thing I have to say on them is they might not be as terrible as we thought. I mean, they're obviously not going to be very good with the kind of team they've assembled. But I still feel they were a bit more competitive than people thought they'd be, especially considering that they literally formed like a couple weeks ago. We've only talked about Vegas so far. Yeah, Valiant might not be as horrible as we thought. I thought that there actually maybe was some okay synergy. They seemed pretty good when they played around our boy Seeker. Nas and CJ also looked pretty good. Thank you for the two, Bake. We need a San Diego Hunters emote. Also, hashtag ban Thor. There's $2 to ban Thor.
We need a San Diego Hunters emote. Also hashtag ban Thor.
Thank you, Bake. So Valiant, they're still a contenders team at the end of the day, obviously. But I think with enough practice, maybe they could make an upset or two happen this year. It feels unlikely. But I mean, just based off of what I saw, I mean, they almost won 2 games. They were very close to beating Saints, even though they're not an OWL team. I mean, they're still a superior team. So as they kind of get more accustomed to each other, considering they only scrimmed for a week and a half before this event, maybe they're capable of giving some of these bottom teams a decent fight. I'm not saying Valiant are going to win a lot of games by any stretch this year, but I could maybe see a world where, aside from Vegas, maybe they can upset another weak team if they're struggling, or if the meta goes in their way. Which is more likely for an upset, Valiant or Vegas? Right now, I'd lean towards Valiant for sure. That could change, it very well could change, but right now I think you have to go with Valiant. So, yeah, honestly, Valiant, not as bad of a showing as I expected, and I'm pretty proud of them, to be honest, for what they did in such little time on such a bad org. How do we feel about the Spitfire? We'll get to them. Yeah, Vegas looked very uninspiring, it's sad. Okay, so that's Vegas and Valiant for you. Really not much to say. You know, they were expected to be bad, and for the most part they were, although at least Valiant were kind of fun to watch. So next would be NYXL if we're going off of how teams finished in their groups and whatnot. And I'd say that the one thing I learned with New York is there's certainly some promise with that roster they have because of the individual talents. But I think people were worried about them for a reason coming into this thing. And the loss to Twisted Minds, I think, is a good example of why that is. I think they definitely showed some good moments. I thought they showed good fight in most matches they played. Not all of them, but most. Psycho, he showed, you know, maybe he needed another chance to spread his wings. Fitz looks good. Kellen even had moments. I think a lot of the individual pieces are there, but they don't feel very cohesive yet. That's what I got out of the Twisted Minds game in particular. There's a lot of mishaps that could have been avoided, it felt like. And with time and practice, that could change. But I'm not sure how far they can really take it. It just feels like a weird roster to me. I can't shake that feeling. If they had not C9'd against Twisted Minds, they would have beaten them. Yeah, their coaching, I mean, it's non-existent, basically, so that helps. I think with time they could be better, though, because they have some potential star power going over there, some proven players. It's just the communication, the teamwork isn't where it needs to be, basically. And once it gets there, you know, maybe they can start punching a bit above their weight. They just need some better discipline, and over time, you develop a better bond with your teammates. They ain't that bad, though. That's the conclusion I've come to. They ain't that bad. I think with time, they might be all right. Nope, no Atlanta yet. I'm going in order of how the group stage went. So we've done Vegas, Valiant, and now New York. Yeah, I mean, New York are never going to be a god tier team. We all know that. But maybe middle of the pack is possible if they kind of figure a few things out. They have a long way to go, but there's some things to be excited about at least, you know? maybe things won't be as bad as people think. But it is preseason, so I won't judge too hard in either direction. How much to ban Thor? You have to out-donate Thor by the end of the stream to ban Thor. Anyway, with NYXL now taken care of, where to get the trading cards on Upper Deck. Yeah, I'm just doing it by group stage. It's a good way to just go in order of things. You know, we can get the not so interesting teams out of the way, and then we can go into detail on the teams that actually went far, you know. So Vancouver Titans would be up next. They went 2-2. They were kind of close, at least, for making it out of the groups. And I feel like they could be an upset nightmare. That's my opinion. It's still very early on, but I like how Punk and Sugar Free are playing together. I feel like there's some kind of chemistry there, based off of what I saw, at least. Aspire, he's always a solid player. I was also pretty impressed with Faith, honestly. Faith is a guy that I've really had no respect for since joining OWL, but he looked pretty stable and probably the most confident I've ever seen him in a game. Preseason or not, that's just an observation I made. I was impressed with his Lucio, no doubt. Have I missed anything? I talked about Vegas, I talked about Valiant, I've talked about New York, and I'm talking about Vancouver. Hey, Keon, what's up, man? Finally a chance to break the cycle of misery. Been waiting for 3 years. Yeah, I mean, this team has a lot of potential. Sugar Free showed that he still has it, even after not competing in the league for, well, not the league, professionally for a couple of years. You know? They weren't good enough in the end to beat, like, Mayhem or Shock this time, but you could feel the fight. And I think that's what's important to take away if you support Vancouver. They gave it their all, and I especially feel like that Mayhem game, both maps were pretty close, despite the loss. So if you clean a few things up, you never know. Maybe some upsets are in their future. It's a really stable team. It's not like they have any bad players. That's the good thing about Titans. Hey, Tem, welcome to the stream. You have your potential star in Sugar Free, and even Aspire. Punk's just a proven good tank who can only get better over time, and a team that actually believes in him. Backline isn't bad, not amazing, but not bad. Got a lot of good stuff over there in Vancouver. I think you have a lot of bright young minds, and I'm kind of excited to see what they bring to the table in the regular season. I think if you give them some time, they could be pretty annoying to deal with for a lot of those mid-tier Western teams. They did enough. They did enough to catch your eyes. You know, they're fun. Sugar Free showed he's still motivated, which is excellent, and, you know, that's the big thing. Do I think Titans could win more games than last year? Of course they could. Will they? I'm not going to say yes or no, but I think there's a good chance. Why not? This is probably the best roster they've had literally since their first year. I mean, technically the beginning is second year, but that team died. We won't get into that pain. Washington Justice are your next team, who just narrowly missed out on the group stage. Had they beaten the Gladiators in a decisive map 3, they would have gone on and we never would have gotten that crazy Glads run. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. What I learned about Justice is I think they could be a fun underdog story this year. I think that's a conclusion a lot of people already came to. But just based off of what I saw with my eyes, that's kind of the general feel. There was a lot of noise about them this offseason. Potential coaching bias, maybe some weird pickups in some people's eyes. Kind of mid-feeling roster in general. And even so, in the preseason at least, I thought they showed us some competitive sets. You really can't complain with how they did. The only thing that was really upsetting was that final map against Gladiators with the questionable substitution that a lot of people have, you know, going from Ben Best to Mirror and just having Mirror play Monkey. That was a little weird, for sure. But they really took care of business and showed us why they're not going to be easy to take down. They're not going to be favored always. I mean, a lot of teams you'd probably favor over them, but they're always going to make you earn it. That's kind of the feeling we're getting right now. Well, what else was I going to say? Obviously, you should never put too much stock into these kinds of things, but at least we saw good moments out of Ben Bast, and I mean, Flora was unreal, preseason or not. His Hanzo was absolutely crazy. He carried a ton throughout the weekend. And alexyOWL as well. I mean, wow. alexyOWL is still crazy as ever, and I'm really excited to see what he can do as like the main star of a team. Hey, Oren. Like, I mean, Flora in particular, though, there was a lot of questions about him. New York, he was, in a lot of people's eyes, kind of poor in the 2022 roster. Could he really still be that guy? And he showed us, maybe he just needed to get out of the shackles of New York and go to a team that truly believes in him. Maybe he just needed a guy who he synergizes better with, like alexyOWL, Sometimes that's all it really takes is a change of scenery to get back on track, and we might be witnessing that with him. Overall, I'd say Justice still have a lot of work to do, a lot of doubts, but I think there's a good amount of potential with them to maybe respond and prove the doubters wrong, just how Ben Bast and FD God did a couple of years prior. And I just really like how they played, man. Even if they didn't beat Boston or Gladiators, they sure as hell put up a good fight against both of them. Boston, both maps were close in a 2-0. Gladiators, went to map 3. They showed really good composure. It's just they fell short in that final stretch. Yeah, I mean, Justice are playing with some confidence. They're not messing around. That coaching of Get Amazed is certainly putting in some work. And I'm excited to see what they do in a couple of weeks from now. So that gets us through all of our teams that did not make it through the groups. So now we can talk about the teams that actually made our tourney here. London, Mayhem, Boston, Toronto, Houston, Shock, Atlanta, Gladiators. I'm going to start with Spitfire because they probably showed us the least. It's just preseason, of course. Again, I have to keep reiterating that. Don't take it too seriously. But their game against Florida was not the prettiest. The Atlanta one, I mean, I think it's whatever. It's fine. But I wasn't very happy with how they played in that Florida series. Maybe they're experimenting. I don't know what the deal is. But I just didn't like their refusal to really swap up anything. They stuck with that monkey composition like the whole series. It felt like they're at a disadvantage before even leaving spawn at times. Mayhem were outplaying them just by playing better map-specific compositions. I don't know. I feel like they got outplayed just by making those decisions. Obviously, Mayhem were the best team in this thing as well, though, so that helps. But I just think that they played a little too much dive. I would have liked them to try and change things up a bit. And I question what they're going to do with Hottie. I mean, it's the same thing as last year, right? You had him play a lot of Rhine. You had him play the Winston. Outside of that, not that much of anything else. And I'm curious to see if that'll continue to be the case and if they'll even be able to get away with that more this year, just because the competition around them is obviously a lot stronger, right? A lot of teams improved a lot, and they really didn't get that much better, at least on paper. So I don't know how that factors into their performance this year, and I'm interested to see if this was a preview of what's to come or not. I feel like they'll still be fine. They've got the foundation, the synergy, the coaching, but I was not a fan of how they played. It worked last year, this type of style, but I don't know how it works in their favor again this year. There's just not as much room to get away with it in my eyes, so I'd like to see how they adjust and move forward. Pretty disappointing overall. The only games they played well in are the ones you'd expect them to. The two powerhouse teams, there really was no fight. Not that I was expecting them to play well against Mayhem. Well, I mean, I kind of thought the Mayhem game would be close personally, but Rain wasn't really expecting a close game. London versus Vancouver should be a map 5. It could be. Yeah, I agree, Dragon Fist. I think another tank player for Spitfire could be beneficial, but it's obvious that Hottie is the player they love to play around. That just feels like their biggest realm of comfort. I don't know if I see another tank fitting in with that team. Hottie's like their leader. Even if he isn't the best with flexibility, it's so hard to turn away from something like that when he means so much to you in-game and whatnot. Which makes this a very interesting challenge for Spitfire, and I'd like to see how Hottie can possibly help out and maybe improve his hero pool this year. Yeah, I mean, they could still definitely be top 8 NA for sure. Yeah, I saw Hottie's not on the Germany World Cup team, which is interesting. who should we talk about next? I was gonna say Gladiators based off of group stage, but maybe I'll shake it up a bit and go over teams that lost in the first round first. So we can talk about, like, Boston. Yeah, Boston's a good one. We'll talk about Boston, sure. So, with Boston, based off of this whole thing that we... Oh, wait, no, there's also shot. No, we'll do Boston first. Okay, so with Boston, I thought there was things to like and things not to like. I think they showed a lot of potential just throughout this entire Pro-Am group stage and even the single elimination. The bright spots were good. I thought that Smurf, when given the space, could really do his thing, show that he could still obviously be one of the best tanks. The supports, when they were able to stay alive, they clutched out some big ones too. Sag. OBS is dying. Why? That's unfortunate. Don't know why it's doing that. I love getting cut off mid-sentence. I think we're back. I think we're okay. I think we're saved. Yeah, I heard Proper's not trying out for Team South Korea. Alright, we're good now. Where was I? So, I thought Smurf and supports could do some nice things when they actually had a chance to. I think a lot of credit definitely has to go to Birdring as well, for a guy who hasn't played in, like, over a year. Did not look washed in the slightest. His mechanics are still there, of course. The man looked like a god at times. But I felt, unfortunately, at least during the weekend, they maybe weren't always playing together enough. Maybe a bit too individually focused. You know, there's a lot of individual talent there, but that kind of play is only going to work against certain opponents. Against weaker teams, like in the group stage even, like, yeah, sure, you can get away with that stuff. But man, when it comes to these big dogs that have synergy, that are serious teams, that kind of play just won't work. I think when playing a good team, like Toronto, for example, they showed that it's going to be harder to win unless they change up their style of play a little bit. Be a bit more on the same page, you know. Be a bit less aggressive at times. They got to show better flexibility in some situations. I didn't like how they continued to play the same thing like over and over again in that series. Was not the biggest fan of that. The flex DPS situation still feels a little weird to me. I think the success really might vary by meta. I thought the K had moments in that series, but I also feel like, you know, when it came to Lijiang, having him go to May definitely was not the play. That didn't work at all. Not all his fault, obviously, but it just felt like there was miscommunication when they played that rush comp, which makes sense because in a rush composition, you need to be more on the same page. It's not like when you're playing a Winston comp when you have guys doing their own things. You need to play together, and Boston just weren't doing that in that series, I felt like. Toronto gave them that series. They really did. Toronto gave them that series. They gave them every chance to get back into it, but Boston kept throwing it away. I mean, really. This should have been a 3-0, if we're being honest. They should have just gotten 3-0'd in that game. It should not have been close. It's crazy that that game went map 5. It's absolutely insane. I think meta means everything to this team until their synergy gets a little better, and I'm not the biggest fan of their coaching personally, so I don't really know if it'll get that much better. We'll have to see. It's still early, but they've got some work cut out for them. I feel like flex DPS and, you know, things outside of dive could be a problem. We'll see, though. Pretty disappointing, though, to see them go out in the first round. Because with all that talent, you know they can go very far, so I'm hoping they can clean it up, and the preseason isn't really indicative of anything. So I saw someone say Shock. We can talk about San Francisco's Shock next, who also lost first round. And the thing I learned about Shock, I mean, it's a pretty obvious conclusion to come to. It's that ping sucks. The Shock obviously, maybe didn't have the best Pro-Am. They lost a couple of games in the groups, and they lost in the first round. But the fact that they nearly beat Outlaws on like 200 ping at like 5 a.m. whenever it was they played, you're not even mad if you're a Shock fan. Your team's not even playing under the same roof together yet. Like, if I'm a Shock fan, this is whatever. Who cares? You still almost beat Outlaws with all of that in mind. I think if you could do all of that under those circumstances, you really don't have to worry that much if you're a Shock fan. Just imagine how much better things look when they're all together under the same roof. Their synergy gets a little bit better and their ping doesn't suck. Imagine. They're going to be good. They're going to be fine. I think people overreact way too much. I think if you say there's no excuse for Shock, I think you're going to regret saying that later this season, personally. I don't think this is a time where preseason tournaments should be taken seriously. I think Shock are going to be fine. I think people are hating on them maybe a little bit. Proper still looked really good, even on 200 ping. I think they'll be good. As a Shock fan, I'm very excited for the regular season if they can take Houston to round 3, map 5 under those circumstances. Yeah, that's what I mean. Their time is over. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, but all right. So that's Shock for you. I don't think there's much to worry about. Ping sucks. They'll be okay. On the next first round loser, we did London Shock. Atlanta Reign, not a team I expected to be talking about this early into this thing, but here we are. I'd say, despite the disappointing first round loss, that this team clearly means business this year. Just because of how they look during the groups, like how serious they seem to be taking this entire thing. Like, I think they came up short, which is sucky, but I don't think anyone can deny that they were putting in probably the most effort out of, like, most of these teams. With how, like, Lip and Stalker were just, like, dismantling people. They weren't trolling at all. Like, they really wanted to win. They showed no mercy even to the contenders teams. They're out here trying to win. They're out for blood. I think they took this as serious practice to try and improve. Lip early on looks motivated for sure. My man Sombra and Cassidy look lethal, but what else is new? But I also don't think that's the only positive to take away from Atlanta. I think Stalker, he looked pretty good as a starter. Now that he's freed from the shackles of Prophet. And I also think the tanks had some good showings too at times. Donghack is like the mystery man who is very, very interesting. I'm liking how his Ball and Winston are looking early on. Although, again, it's going to feel disappointing to go out in the first round like that, which really sucks. Yo, Brendan, thank you for the 5. Atlanta are a very momentum-based team usually, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. Thank you again for the 5. So where was I? It does feel a little disappointing to lose round 1, but I don't think it's worth taking the preseason too seriously. Whenever people do, they end up regretting it, I promise you.
I'm hoping that first round loss for Atlanta isn't an omen, like I said. These guys have always been really momentum-based.
Gator head coach worries me about Atlanta. Honestly, I think it's a fair concern. It's always a fair concern for a first-year coach. But I kind of trust Gator. I don't know what it is. I just trust him, though. I think he kind of already assumed maybe a small coaching role last year. Atlanta are very strong. The Glads beat them. Underrated Glads team. Yeah, very well might just be the case. I think Reign learned from this moment, though, and they get better from it. I very much think they maybe got caught off guard by Gladiators' composition choice. It's a little disappointing they could not adjust. But the Brig, I mean, the Brig maybe slowed down the Sombra play a little bit. Although I do think, in general, they gave us a preview as to why they could be a really terrifying team. When they're confident, when they're doing their thing, they're going to be scary. Let's see. Babel looks great for a play. I mean, yeah, Babel did look good. Very aggressive support player. Had his moments. That's like all your quarterfinals teams. So we're on to the semis, and I guess we can just start with Defiant. And the lesson I learned about Defiant, I mean, it's mostly just because of the Boston series and how they played in groups, but the power of friendship really might mean something after all. I think Defiant, while they did come in as a threat for a lot of people in this tournament, I think they might have, to some people's, expectations, gone a bit above and beyond. Their synergy, I think early on here in the preseason, definitely gave them an advantage. Something I myself didn't account for enough, I admit that. I think their synergy helped them give a couple of really good rosters a good struggle. Outlaws, I mean, they nearly beat them 2-0. It was really close. They beat Boston, which is always impressive. Hydron, obviously, is a big story in this situation with how he played. I mean, holy moly. That guy went crazy. He looks really confident. I mean, he was already good on Florida, but now that he's playing with his boys, he might take it up another notch or two. This is probably what he's been waiting for, to play with those guys, and now he's going to pop off. This is only the beginning. Hydron low-key might be in that race for like a MVP nomination. We'll have to see. My man was diffing like everyone the whole week, though. Aside from the Florida game, he really could do whatever he wanted. Hanzo, Cassidy, you name it. He looked insane. I think that past teamwork, though, really helped out a lot as well. For sure. Everyone seemed to be playing together. They looked confident, which you'd expect from a group of guys who have already won so much together in the past, right? The dives looked good, even speedily on newer hero like Tracer for him. Looked confident out there. Ultraviolet was doing his thing once again. They all just look happy to be with each other, and I think that gives them an advantage here early on. You can tell they're working very hard, I think that if Hydron can sustain the way he played, and the synergy can stay where it is, and they don't fall behind, they could be a pretty terrifying team to deal with. They'll be right in the thick of it for sure, I think. I'd be scared of them. If they get the right meta, they'll be dangerous. Yeah, I mean, if we got more Echo, Speedily would be having a fun time. So yeah, power of friendship for Defiant prevailed. As for Houston Outlaws, I'd say that what I learned is the hype is justified, but much like maybe some of these other teams, there maybe is some work to do in some regards. I thought there were times where Houston looked pretty amazing. When their individual talents could shine through, they could win some pretty improbable scenarios, like in that Toronto game. Looked like everything was lost in the groups. They were going to get second. Toronto were going to beat them on Blizzard World, but then they woke up and they showed us why they really are a really scary team. With their coaching, their adjustments, how Violet and Shu can play together. How Pelican looks really good. But on the other side of it, while the clutch factor was really, 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 really good, there were maps where sometimes they didn't feel all that locked into me. I don't know what it was. Like, when they're locked in, they feel unbreakable. They can clutch out any win. But when they struggle, when they get frustrated, I felt like they were maybe a little slow with those in-game adjustments. I noticed it in the Toronto series, even the Shock series, Gladiator series as well. I'd like to maybe see some better coordination along with those adaptations. I feel like if they can maybe help our boy Fearless a little bit more at those dives, maybe play a bit more Kiriko to help out, in some situations at least, because I felt like there were times where they really needed one, but they didn't play it. I think they'll be okay. They just need to work on that coordination a little bit better. Maybe Fearless needs to understand he's not on Dallas anymore. There are certain things he can't get away with. It goes both ways, but I just think that's what they need to do. Play around Fearless more, and I think they'll be golden. The individual talent is there, though. I just think the sum, the the addition of everyone isn't always totally there. And with time, that'll come. But what they did show us is they can be clutch and they can extend series, which, you know, is always a great thing come playoff time and tournament time. So I'd say that this tournament overall was a success, even if they did get shut down by Gladiators in the semis. They showed us exactly what you're looking for. Shu was clutch, Pelican was clutch. They all had their moments. And that's what's important. That is what is important to take away if you're an Outlaws fan. Just take a sip of water real quick. Been talking a lot continuously here. Oh, that's better. So that takes care of your semi-finals losers, which means we got 2 teams left, and then we can kind of diverge this convo into something else. So LA Gladiators are finals losers. I think obviously, and I mean this for me and for maybe some other people, especially me though, because I gave them a lot of flack for it. The lesson to learn is that scrim bucks might not mean everything, you know? The Glads caught a lot of criticism. I talked about it a lot. It's something to look out for. How do they do in the Pro-Am? They've been struggling, experimenting, not going too well. But they left it all out there, right? And they put out probably the most impressive performance out of any team. Like, obviously, Florida were insane, but Gladiators, the expectations weren't nearly as high, I'd say, and they made it all the way to the finals. The fact that they made it there to begin with is a big enough feat on its own to show that you probably need a bit more respect from myself and from others. I think a big factor, if you missed it, as to why they weren't doing so well in scrims, at least according to Dante, aside from experimenting and playing random things, they also only recently all got together under the same roof in the team house. So that's definitely going to help now that they're all together. I think that the synergy can only really get better from here, and some of those miscommunication issues that we saw might go away over time. It was a good look. But also a lot of why they were able to clutch out a lot of these games the way they did is obviously because of Kevster. I mean, without him, they just don't go that far. That's the hardcore truth. But they enabled him. They did what they needed to let him do his thing. And he played an excellent, excellent week. Hey, Thor. I'd say that Kevster still looks out for blood, man. He really does. If he can sustain this for a whole season, Glads are going to be a really fun and interesting team to watch. But if that level of play is sustainable, I'm not too sure. This is not the Gladiators of last year by any stretch, talented or not. But I say that because he had to pop off that hard, and it took all of his efforts just to barely scrape by. That's the one thing to note. Like, yeah, they deserve more respect. They played well. But Kevster and like Kai and all those guys, they had to play out of their minds just to get to that map 5, which is scary to think about. If it's going to take that kind of effort all the time to beat these teams, that's going to make this season really stressful for Glads fans, I think. They might be in a lot of games, but it doesn't mean they're going to win all of them. It's going to be a scary ride, I think, if this is the path we're heading towards. Upset potential, perhaps, but it's going to take an A game from everyone constantly to beat these big dogs, I kind of feel like. Kevster and Kai and all those guys, they're going to have to do that pretty frequently. Yeah, when Kai is hot, when he can give Kevster that assistance, they're a hard team to stop. I also think Dante deserves some credit for stepping up. I know I've heard some mixed opinions on him throughout the week. Some people are like, didn't look that good on Monkey. Mostly just good on Ramatra. Other people saying he looked good on everything. I think he stepped up, though. He had some clutch moments, and that's what you're looking for as a Glad/Dante fan, to see him continue progressing his mechanics on the Monkey and stuff like that. He still has his work cut out for him on things like Sig, but just give him some time. We'll see what happens, and maybe they could pick up another tank eventually. Probably not, but we can dream. For me, Babel was a throw signing, but he proved you wrong. Yeah, he did look really good. Him and Lastro, Funny Astro's good too. Good support trio from Glads, and a good DPS trio. They have the potential. I think they have the coaching You have your Superstar and Kevster to play around. You basically have all you need to still make a run at this thing. I'm just not convinced that this level of play that they're at is, like, sustainable. I'm not too sure. They might be going to a lot of map 5s. I don't know. If it takes all this just to constantly survive, I don't know how they're going to do, man. It's going to be like cardiac arrest for these guys. Regardless, though, pretty proud of the Glads for proving me wrong, and I'm definitely going to be watching them a bit more carefully. It's only preseason. I have to continue to reiterate that. It's preseason, it's preseason, it's preseason. But they were trying, you know, and that's what matters. You know, they really showed good motivation. So even if you don't want to take these results that seriously, no one can deny their efforts in this thing. Yeah, Dante's Ramatra looked pretty clean for sure. And it proved to be an advantage at certain points when they felt like they should break out a rush comp, or maybe it wasn't the best idea to match on the Winston. It worked to their advantage. Glads overall have work to do, obviously, because there were a lot of close calls. But this is a promising sign that maybe with practice, things can get better as we head towards the start of this year. So well done, Gladiators. You proved me wrong. Glads fans can laugh at me for that. I'll take it. I know. I was wrong. I was very wrong about how they did. At least early on. I think all the Glad supports held their own, genuinely. Houston fan here. Looked like they didn't have an answer for Dante and Ramatra. I mean, not a lot of teams did. We're about to get to Florida Beedrill. We are about to get to Florida Mayhem. They are the final team to cover. The final team that we have not discussed yet in this video. Ant Venom? What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. Regardless, Florida Mayhem. Your grand finals champion, not the result I was expecting, nor were a lot of you were expecting before the Pro-Am started, but man, they went out there and were quite easily the most dominant team. A Minecraft YouTuber, no hate. I mean, I didn't think there was hate or malicious intent behind it. I just didn't know what you were talking about. Hey, Vulcan, thank you for the 2. Hashtag ban Thor. There's another 2 for the ban Thor movement, along with Bakes 2 before. So yeah, Goomba cooked. Florida Mayhem, the thing I learned is maybe this year could be different. Maybe. Preseason, yes, but Florida were definitely the most convincing team in this whole thing. Not what I had in my bingo book for sure, but nonetheless, they really tried. They looked confident throughout this entire thing. Group stage all the way until the finals. They looked flexible. They played with their hearts out. Thank you again, Vulcan.
Hashtag Mayhem brought hashtag ban Thor.
I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. They played with confidence. They showed a lot of flexibility, which was important. I thought all their guys had good moments throughout the whole thing. Someone looked like an elite tank. The monkey was insane. He could flex onto pretty much anything he wanted to. Checkmate and Merit were doing their thing. They took turns with a lot of good pop-offs and, you know, cleanup work. RuPaul, he was definitely a story in this thing. And he showed exactly why they went with him over Majed. There was a lot of complaints from people during the offseason. Why'd they get rid of Majed? Why'd they keep RuPaul? This is why they kept RuPaul. Clearly, he gives them a lot more flexibility. His style of play isn't quite as aggressive as Majed's, that's for sure. It's just it's a more stable way for Mayhem to approach fights, and you could see it. RuPaul was still making an impact while being less aggressive, letting his guys do his thing, and when push came to shove, he looked insane on the BAP and the Ana. Yes, Mayhem did almost lose to Shock, but they did not, and that was basically the only time they got pushed aside from Grand Finals against Gladiators. they were mostly in control, you know? It's impressive to only drop 3 maps throughout this entire thing. I think a lot of Mayhem players, their stock are definitely rising. You really can't deny that. They have a lot of young second-year players on their way up. A lot of them maybe could end up in that Roll Star conversation, potentially 1 or 2 in the MVP convo, depending on where Mayhem finish. But this is the kind of tournament that at least gives Mayhem fans, bare minimum, hope that this could be the year where maybe they aren't a disappointment. You know, they're actually relevant from start to finish. They could maybe go on some sort of tournament run. Maybe they can be clutch when they need to be. It's still very, very, very early, but they showed you what you are looking for. You know? They have a lot of potential, and they could be very productive. At bare minimum, even if they end up a disappointment this year for whatever reason, Mayhem fans can say they actually got first place in something. I know it's a preseason tourney. It's like, I don't know how much you really count that, but technically they got first in something, finally. So they're now the last team of the bottom 4 in 2018, if I remember correctly, to finally win something. You know, you had Shanghai 0-40, Dallas, Mayhem won like 7 games that year, and Shock were bad too. Now all of them have technically won something. Preseason or not, they've won something now, finally. I mean, they got money in the 2021 tournament, but I'm talking like first place. Mayhem have never gotten first place in anything before. They've gotten second place, but they've never gotten first in anything. I'd say give Florida fans their moment in the spotlight. As Brian here said, you've been waiting 6 years for Florida to win something. So I say let Florida fans have this. Complainers can say what they want about preseason, but let these boys enjoy their moment, you know? Finally, some positivity over in Florida. Let's give them some time to celebrate this and let them be excited about their teams, because usually they don't get the chance to. Florida have suffered quite a bit. And by quite a bit, I mean literally like one of the worst when it comes to all-time record. If I remember correctly, they have the worst win percentage of all time. Yeah, technically. At 32%, they have the worst win percentage of all time. This is their first time winning something, so I'm going to give them this. Wonder the new support will fit into the meta. He probably won't, if I'm being honest with you, because he looks pretty bad. Florida won something before Infernal could. Oof. Think they could be a grand finals contender? It's very early to say. They showed they have the talent to maybe go far, so why not? This year maybe feels a bit open. I think there's a couple of teams that could be gunning for it. I wouldn't say that Mayhem are the favorites, but is there a chance? Oh, of course. They have one of the better rosters in the league, and if the right meta comes their way, you never know. But Justice looked good. Yeah, they had their moments, definitely. Weakest point of Mayhem at the moment? Weakest point. I mean, it probably comes down to nitty-gritty things with them, like, how does Checkmate do against, like, other superstar flex DPS on a consistent basis? How do they do in, like, a sniper-heavy meta? Bench, yeah. Bench you could identify as a weak point. Lack of depth, for sure. They just have Sauna off the bench. Yeah, that's a definite thing. I think mostly Florida will be good. I think they're actually a very versatile team. I think Double Sniper is just like one example where I'd be interested to see how they do. But that's like just one thing. Just one thing. Generally, Florida are in a good spot. If you want to point to one thing, maybe you could say the lack of backups. But a lot of their guys on their starting lineup are flexible, and they'll only get better with time. So I'm not too worried about Mayhem. They're just in good shape. It's just, do they have the star power at the end of this year to beat some of these other competitors. That's what it's really going to come down to. Also, their coaching, yeah, maybe not quite S tier, but Goomba and McGravy is still a good combo. I was hoping to play Houston, but I think I'm glad we played Gladiators. I mean, yeah, I'd say Gladiators were the best competition you really had because they literally beat Outlaws and Reign back-to-back. They were worthy opponents. I think that's the team you want to play. They clearly were as motivated as Mayhem, so I thought it was probably the best potential matchup we could get, considering how the results went to get here. Like, maybe Reign would have been a better matchup, maybe, but you never know for sure. I think it's good Gladiators made it there because of how clutch they were playing and how fun they were to watch in this thing. I think this is the best match you could have asked for, honestly. I would have loved to maybe see Outlaws or Reign in there as well, but just based off of how clutch Glads were and how fun Kevster was to watch amongst those other guys, I'm not complaining about what we got at all. Unexpected results, really fun matches. What I say about Boston? With Boston, I said that there's things to like and things not to like. I think there's a lot of good, but maybe some things they got to work on with synergy and not playing so like individualistically, if that's a word, I don't even know, like playing too much on their own. They gotta work together. Gotta work together better in those non-like dive comps where they're all spread out. That's it. That's the last team. We have gone over every team now. I could give you a quick rundown of my thoughts on the contenders teams. I mean, not sure really how much that matters because we're not going to see them now. The Boston DPS is more the problem, too hold and cold. I mean, that's part of it. What I learned about NYXL is there's promise, but I think there's reason to be worried. It's justified why people had worries, but I think there's things to like. Who would you say is the most improved team from inaugural season to present day? I mean, it's kind of hard to say that because a lot of teams have gone up and down throughout their years. I mean, Shocker, like a good one, because after inaugural season, they've literally been the most like consistent team in the league after having a not so great first year. Outlaws have shown tremendous improvement. Dragons, I mean, Dragons. Dragons is a good one considering they literally lost 40 games and 1-0 in their first year. Mayhem are also a shout if they can start to sustain better. Dallas Fuel, another one. Dallas, I mean, okay, so you can actually argue Dallas might have shown the most improvement as well. Because their first 3 years, really, they were either bad or mediocre. Shanghai only really had the one bad year, even though it was 0-40. After that, they immediately won a stage title, and then won a bunch of more, and then they won a grand finals. Dallas, it literally took 4 years to be relevant. In a good way, not in the drama-filled way. True, Zephyr did carry the Mayhem. That's true. You know Vake's in trouble when even the contenders teams are diffing them in multiple roles? Yeah, they're in trouble. They're in big, big trouble. I'd say overall, though, that's kind of my thought process on how all the teams did in the Pro-Am. It's mostly just a for fun thing. I don't like to take this too seriously, because we've seen preseason happen, you know, a long time ago, and it usually didn't mean anything. Season 1, when we had that, a lot of the top performers ended up sucking. So I wouldn't take it too seriously. The season starts in 2 weeks. Remember when Houston versus Boston was called the Toilet Bowl? Yeah. Shock, what I learned is ping sucks. Who do I think wins West and East? With time, I will tell you. With time, with time. We'll save it for another day. You miss your Titans being good? Yeah, it's been quite a bit since then. It has been quite a bit. Who do you think would win Shock versus Rain right now? I can't say for sure because I haven't seen Shock play on normal connection yet. I only saw them play on 200 ping. No, Maddie, no worries, man. Never have to apologize. Okay, people keep asking me about what I said for certain teams, so I'm going to run down every team right now. Take notes. Take notes, chat. This is the last time. Vegas Eternal, I said, you have a lot of work to do. Valiant, you might not be as terrible as we thought. New York, there's promise, but people are worried for a reason. Titans, this team could be an upset nightmare. Justice, you could be a fun underdog story this year. Shock, ping sucks. Spitfire, flexibility might be a point of emphasis this year. Gladiators, scrimbucks don't mean everything. Defiant, the power of friendship really does mean something after all. Outlaws, the hype is justified, but there's work to do. Mayhem, this year really could be different. Uprising, there's things to like and things not to like. Rain, this team means business. What's your opinion on Team Peps? Do you think anyone on there is owl worthy? I mean, from what I saw, considering they literally didn't win a single map, I wouldn't say any of their guys are owl worthy right now. I'd love to see maybe Naga get another chance, but, you know. Weren't exactly impressive in the Pro-Am, sadly. Oh yeah, whenever Hybrid plays against OWL teams, he just, I don't know, doesn't show up. Nothing against APAC, but when you have Lip Proper and Kevster in the same region, all gunning for MVP, and it seems like the stronger region. Oh no, they're undoubtedly the stronger region. I don't think there's a world where you could argue the East is even close right now. The East have a couple of fun teams, but it's really nothing compared to the talent the West is boasting. They'd need a I feel like it would be meta-specific if a West team were to win, maybe outside of like Spark, maybe, but even then. I just don't see it. A lot of these teams in the West are just so loaded. It's a very top-heavy region. Oh, Sana? Sana could play. He played one map in the Pro-Am groups. I mean, according to their general manager, Albert, they signed him to fill in the holes left behind by Merit and Checkmate, so I'm assuming he'll have some kind of use. I wouldn't expect to see him a lot, but I could see him playing a little. Yubi looked really good. APAC literally is an inactive OWL team. Yeah, true. Am I excited for Leaf Shy Duo? Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, it's good that we have Dallas moving over to the East. It's another fun team. Do you think contenders now will merge? Probably not. What if Al had more teams? What do you think would happen to Al? Would it be better? I don't know if it would be better. It might be. We already have a lot of the best talent out there. What meta? I mean, I'd expect it to be kind of close to what we saw in Pro-Am. I'd assume. I feel like Winston and Tracer are really strong picks. Ana's good. Maybe we see a bit more Brigitte. What I like is it seems like you can play a lot of things. It could be very map dependent. We could see Rush on certain maps. Maybe we see more Sombra again. Cass, I mean, I still feel like he's pretty fine. I know that they nerfed his grenade like a little bit, but I feel like it isn't that much. So I feel like Cass could still be pretty good. Maybe that's just my opinion, though. I want to see some more weird metas like Genji. Genji double projectile. Yeah, projectile's just not good. Yeah, you could be right, Octo. You could be right. Unpopular opinion, I prefer the meta. Oh, wait, no. Unpopular opinion, but I really want to see a hard Zarya meta. Well, she needs quite the buff if she's going to get played again. I think the good thing, though, is there's going to be variety. There will be monkey comps and stuff, but we're going to see other things. I think especially in the beginning of the season, as it usually tends to go, teams are going to play what they're comfortable with. And then we'll see things start to evolve maybe a bit more. Yeah, Ramatra comps are really fun, I agree. Thor with the 10. Emote 2's in your Discord DMs. You should try and figure out what the third one people want is. Okay, so thank you for the 10, Thor. So we have 2 new channel emotes coming for members, which is fun. But we could get a third one. I don't know what kind of emote chat would want, potentially.
Emote 2 is in your Discord DMs. We should try and figure out what the third one people want is. What do you think, chat? Do we ask now and poll it on Twitter or something?
What kind of emote do you think this chat needs? Or this channel needs? What kind of ATP emote do we really need? We're going to have a Monka S for one of them, an ATP Monka S. Junbin also looks pretty good, I agree. We're going to have an ATP Monka S and an ATP Feels Evil Man. Yo, Thor, thank you for the 39 months. A ban Thor emote. God. Only people from stream would understand that reference, though. It needs to be something more universal. ATP Hype. We have ATP Pog U. ATP, huh? That's not a bad one. Thank you again, Thor.
ITZ Thor Time has become a member. We have at Monka and at Feels Evil coming so far. Make your suggestions.
ATP Huh is fire. So we got 2 people for ATP Huh. We got an ATP Weird Champ. A Thor Avengers emote. People in the MVP race, I mean, it's pretty clear that like Kevster and Lip and Proper are going to be in there. Maybe someone can sneak in. It's a lot of guys. Pelican, maybe. Hydron could maybe be a sneaky one if he continues to play this way. Thoughts on Proper diffing Happy on Widow? It was crazy. He looked like, it's insane that he can do that, honestly. Proper is cracked. Rank every OWL fan base based on how loyal they are. See, I don't pay enough attention to the community to know that for sure. That's like a hard thing to do. Shoe MVP year? Potentially. Also, this was a long time ago, but somebody in chat asked me if I picked a team to support. The answer to that is still, I don't know. If at all. I still do want to do that stream content idea where I get chat to be creative, either like get in a Discord call with me or like make a video for me, make a pamphlet, whatever you want to do to convince me to support your team. I feel like that'd be sick content, and then whichever entry is the best, I'll pick that team to support for the season. I really think that'd be fire content. I should really get on that. It'd be fun. Mara Outlaws could have been really interesting. It's a shame. I don't mind Happy, but I really think Merit was the way to go. Gone from Vegas to Washington because of Ben Best, and Vegas aren't Paris anymore. Fair enough. How can you hate a guy called Happy? Nice. Yeah, what do you think about that, though, chat? Is that a good stream content idea? Hey, Char with the 25 to the hashtag ban Thor movement. Well, that's going to be the final emote. That is our final emote whenever Thor makes that. We're going to have 3 new emotes coming for members. Since Fusion turned into Infernal, I support teams because of certain players. That's what I've been doing the last couple of years. Mostly just hoping the players do well, but you get my drift, I'd say. I think right now I have like 29 towards the ban Thor movement. I swear Shock picked Kilo over Merritt because they thought he was better. He might have done better in scrims, genuinely. Merritt might be the better player right now, but scrims might have been a different story at the time. You really don't know. You make chat say Happy Ramadan. Oh, there's the hashtag ban Thor.
Hashtag banter.
Thanks again, banter. Thank you again for the 25. I appreciate it, Chara. I haven't heard much on Kilo, to be honest. Don't know what's up with him. Merritt's 3-in-1 rail still lives rent-free in my head. Same. Kilo to Chengdu, Omega lol. Shanghai this year is gonna be something. That's all I'll say. I don't know if it's gonna be a blessing in disguise or if it's gonna be the disaster I think it is. I just don't know. Boucher will have his 5th year in Spark, repeating Carpe's achievement. Yeah, that's pretty cool. He's been there since his very first season in the league and Spark's first year of existing. Isu there gives you some hope. We'll see. You're more on the disaster side. I think I might be too. I just heard someone say Kilo fans might be in for a treat. Ooh, maybe then. Will I do an APAC video? I do have an APAC video coming probably next week. I'm doing a team preview thing for both regions where I kind of do more of like a lightning round. Last year I did like all 20 teams individually, but I'm doing like 2 lightning round videos. I'm working on the script currently for the West because they're more relevant right now. They just have their pro-aim and stuff, and we're going to capitalize on that. But then I'll do the East next week. But it's like a How Good Is Your OWL Team West edition, so look forward to that. Probably this weekend, chat. As early as tomorrow, but probably Saturday, I'd say. Preseason power rankings, yes. That will be a thing, but I'm going to get through team previews first, and I think I might have one other thing planned. Let me look at my little schedule that I have here. I also might try and fit in a season predictions video as well. So I'm going to try and fit in like 3 videos and then do a preseason power rankings. I'm going to try my best. The schedule is not available yet, at least as far as I'm concerned. Best map? For me, it's Lijiang. Overall best player, you just can't go wrong with Proper, I feel like. Fled is gonna be insane on Sig. Can you imagine he's just like really crazy on like one hero? Thoughts on the casters? I thought all of the casters they invited did a great job. You mean Lee J. Gontower? Yeah, my mistake. Should I play open queue or roll queue? Roll queue and do DPS. Rich and Kenobi were insane, true. Guess for Titan 6 player? I'm thinking they're not getting a 6 player. Like, I know they're supposed to, but I can't get this feeling that they're just not going to. I think they might take the justice route and sign someone from their org and just not announce it. Contenders teams in the East, they're actually going to have an opportunity to compete with the OWL teams in the East. The West, I don't really think anything's happening, though. But in the East, there shall be. God, I hate my internet sometimes. Why does it do this? Sucks, man. It sucks. Thought Titans would pick up Mikey. Reiner's taking care of health issues for now. What DPS hero? Genji. Don't know. It's unfortunate on NYXL. They're the best team in the world. Jonah Kamano, Sabiobi, Libero, Pine. Yep. Things happen. Oops. Yeah, Mikey's focusing on the collegiate. Yeah, it was heart issues. Pretty serious stuff, I guess, huh? Well, I can't even say I guess. It is serious stuff if it's heart issues. Jeez. Yeah. Aside from that, don't really know where we dive into next. I have my plan set out for content this weekend. Bro, please stop disconnecting. I beg of you. Holy moly. Why do I always have problems streaming to YouTube? I do not understand. It's crazy, man. Do you think Norway can get out of the group stage of the World Cup? Maybe? The new Chengdu roster? What if they have, like, Jinmu and Gaga still there? Sapio will be best tracer ever for you. Proper best DPS. Fleta also top 3. Fair enough. Gotta donate for better internet. Lol. Mexico signed a player called Sopa. They won the whole thing already. Nice. Where was I before my internet interrupted me? The content roadmap. Saturday, I think, is going to be How Good Is Your OWL Team West Edition. It should be ready. Then after that, the start of next week, I think I'll do the East one. Then Season Preds. And then Power Rankings. I'm going to try and run through all of that stuff before the season starts. I mean, ideally, I'd like to try and do the Power Rankings at least a week before the season starts. I don't know how doable it is. I mean, I could do Power Rankings before my Season Preds. I might have to shuffle some things around. I don't have that much time. First day of the season should be the 27th. Oh, then I also need to do a week 1 preview video. Jeez. Guangzhou hasn't officially done anything. Guangzhou should just have the same team, though. Pretty sure they have the same team. I've seen Piggy there. And I mean, if Choi Se-wan wasn't on charge, he would have found a new team. He's just too good. Yes, I actually have a lot to do. Huh. Four videos in like 2 weeks. That's not that bad. That's doable. I just have to really grind for it. Hope Charge can do something this year, at least replicate the second half of last year. I mean, they might. The East is open. They could do something. I love my boy Choi, and if they keep Piggy, that'd be great too. Xerneas is a great player. I think for a whole season with them together, they might be able to make some noise in the East. Best old versus new Overwatch League players. That could be a fun idea. I lean towards Dynasty as the best Seoul team, personally, but I think it's going to be close, and they might make for good rivals this year. Also, I'm just going to take this dumb thing off the screen because I didn't realize it has to be through Streamlabs for it to make the progress thing go up. It's like halfway. I got like 50, I think, today so far. Any news on Bumper and Fury? Nah. I don't think they're coming back. At least not now. If Charge would make top 3 in APAC after feeling Spark, it's still a success even though it's statistically mid. I mean, yeah, if they could make it that far, that'd be great. Am I upset about the Krillin signing? I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm upset, but it's not exactly a glamorous signing, especially since he's going to be playing main support. You don't love that. But what I always say to Dynasty fans is the fact that Krillin's probably your weakest link ain't that bad, you know? Krillin isn't the greatest, especially on main support, but if that's like your biggest concern, you're in okay shape. Because Krillin last year, at least, wasn't bad at all. He's going to be mid on main support, I'd assume, but it could be worse, I feel like. Yeah, the league requirement's supposed to be 6 players, but there are loopholes. If you remember Justice last year, they only had 5 players towards the end of the season, and they signed like one of their random staff members to be their 6th player. Is this going to be a video? The stream VOD will be up after we're done, so if you want to watch, go right ahead. It won't be a long stream, so it won't be too hard to dig through it. Krillin is mid-tier, well-rounded. True. Prophet or profit? That's what I'm trying to do, by the way. I'm trying to differentiate the sounds at the end. Prophet is the OG, Prophet is the new guy. Yeah, Bob from Finance, seriously. That's what Titans are probably going to do, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe they're just waiting. But as some people pointed out on social media, why would Overwatch League announce their roster already if they weren't only going to have 5? I'm going to call them Prophecy. Profit and Pro-Fat. Troy Oben, definitely over Fury for me. If Titans are good enough, maybe Sugar Free could win it. I also think Donghack might be in the running as well. I mean, I'd say maybe Lee Min on Dynasty has a chance, but no one pays attention to the East, so I'm just gonna not even bother thinking he has a chance. Quite a few teams still kind of need their sixth player, and they're probably not going to get one if I had to take a guess. Choi Hyobin or Void, that's a hard one. I prefer Choi slightly, but I am a big Void fanboy. Oh yeah, I forgot Rhino is rumored to Vegas. True. Yeah, I think Void's still going to be good this season. I'm ranking him highly for a reason. I think him and Prophet are going to do some fun things, man. And I mean the OG Prophet. God, it's so confusing. Al just wants me to be a big Void fanboy like you. I'm a huge Void supporter. I always will be. Void is my guy. He is the model of consistency at the tank role. The military duo. True. Eventually, they're both gonna have to do their military. Sag. Chengdu Hopers? Nope. Pretty sure they're all gone. Pretty sure they have disappeared forever. Shanghai signed Frogger as their Hyperflex hit scan DPS. Interesting. Is he gonna make Lucio a hit scan? Otherwise, I don't see that happening. I mean, Owl says Chengdu's competing this year, so they have to have something, right? Right? Love the face cam, by the way. Is it? I just don't use this overlay all the time. It depends on what stream I'm doing. Jimmy, all 5 roles. True, 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 true. If you buy Chengdu skin, where does the money go? Probably straight to Blizzard's pocket. Void, Hanbin, Choi, best off tanks to ever play. Potentially Meko, Fury. Yep, true. It's kind of hard to go against Void, Hanbin, Choi as like the top 3. Nah, Bake, you're flattering me. Nah. Yeah, Thor's the one who made the overlay. Thank him. My guy always does a lot of work. Well, I'm pretty sure Void originally intended to retire, but then I guess he changed his mind. I really don't know what Chengdu's situation will be like. I just don't know. I do not know. They're just dead. This team isn't real. They don't exist. They're a figment of your imagination, chat. This right here isn't real, and it never was real. It's all a dream. You can wake up now. God. Anime TP girl. Oh god, that sounds cursed. Oh, is that so, Bob? Interesting. It's now San Diego Hunters. True, true, true. We're gonna change it. Yeah, the Hunters will quite literally be playing from the Chengdu zone, wherever that is. Everyone was gaslighted that Chengdu ever existed. Hong Kong hunters. Jeez. Yeah, can you imagine they just bring Among back? I mean, for all we know, they could just bring all 4 of these guys back. Like, somehow. And then, like, one other guy. And then you could have Daisy play support. 5-head. Or DPS. In all seriousness, though, I don't know what's going to happen. Alright, Thor. Sounds good, man. Thanks for hanging out. The donos, the emotes as well. Video idea, translate OWL players' names. That could be fun. Am I cool with Raid Shadow Legends? Of course, I love Raid Shadow Legends. So cool. Never played the game once. Can't even lie. I think I may have gotten a Raid Shadow Legends offer before, but I just turned it down because it's like, everyone does it. I don't even know if they're real either. They could have been fake, to be honest with you. I just don't know what the hunters do, if anything. It's a disaster that we're in this kind of situation where we're questioning if a team's even real. It's really that bad. It really is that bad at this point. It's depressing to think about as a diehard OWL fan like many of you watching this stream. It hurts. It hurts to know that this is like the end. At least for Chengdu, probably. Nice, Colin, nice. I'm just waiting for someone or something to say something, but there's just nothing. I don't know if we'll even get an announcement before the season starts. Is this going to be like an even worse version of Valiant? Yo, Char with another 20 for the ban Thor movement. Uh-oh, Thor, you're in trouble. Thor is in danger of getting banned. So any news on South Korea World Cup team? I heard it's coming soon. Would you make a video covering World Cup teams? I might. I wouldn't cover like all the teams, but maybe like the significant ones. Like Korea, US, and the other interesting ones. China. Thank you again,
Before
Chara.
he's gone, one more hashtag banter.
Banter. Ban Thor. A confirmed start date? I don't know, like an exact date. No. I think it's like a general month that it'll start though. Like the groups would be in like the fall. The groups in the tournament. We're still a long way off. I mean, the group stuff's gonna happen like soon, like the qualifiers. If you translate gargoyle to Swedish and then back to English, it's person with grotesque face. That is an interesting translation. Lip definitely could, when it's all said and done, be top 5 all time. Sure. I don't see why not. I don't know if he's for me right now, but he's in the running. We're choosing a team to support 20 teams in a whale and spin it and see what it recommends. Yeah, but there's so much content I'm going to miss out on. I could have people try and convince me in a pitch. You know? It's more fun that way. I want to do that soon. I just need to get... You know what I need to do? I just need to grind and get these other videos out of the way. You lost, unfortunate. I need to get these other videos out of the way so we can focus on that stream content. Always supported Dallas since the Seagull XQC effect days. Nice. What could possibly save the Hunters, if at all? The League. That's my only guess at this point. The League. Knowing that it would look really, 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 really bad if they only had 19 teams and one team didn't exist. You'd have to feel like they're going to step in somehow, right? Watch, I'm probably dead wrong. My other DPS and supports even lost after I got a 3K blade. Unfortunate. Got your shock jersey? Nice. Can I pitch you on being an Outlaws fan? They are green. You know what? I'm sold. Yeah, I'm pretty open though. I'm pretty open whenever I get around to it. I think it would make for some really good stream content. I have to not be busy so then I can make like a formal announcement and set it up, because I can't just YOLO it. I gotta make it a bit more organized. Top 3 all-time for you. Jonek, Jaehong, and Izayaki for supports. That's fun. Our chat is green. Outlaws is green. So... I would love to go to a LAN event if they had one that was actually close to me. But they only have them in like the same 3 spots. I play a lot of Ana. Oh jeez, Maddie, don't even. Replace Chengdu with ATP's troll team. Don't you mean the San Diego Hunters? I'd love to go to a LAN, but they don't have them anywhere close. I'd have to fly somewhere, and you know, I can't. To save money. Call a press conference to announce your new team like LeBron. I mean, that's kind of the idea. So Valiant versus Spitfire 2018 in Burbank. That's amazing. Replace Hunters with O2 Blast. Honestly. It's a good, you know, because of this Hunter situation, it's a good thing they're doing that Contenders thing in APAC this year. It's a good thing. Can help you afford a domestic flight. Fair enough, I guess. But I'd rather save up to go back to Philippines again if I could than go to a LAN event. I'd replace Violet with Izayaki. San Diego Hunters would win the grand finals. True. Every award. We get all of them. Alright, Keon. Sounds good, man. Thanks for hanging out, as always. Yes, you are late. Imagine if the Hunters last second just announced the most stacked roster. Yeah, I don't think so. Who on the San Diego Hunters would win MVP? I bet for sure I'd win the Dennis Adalco Award. Yeah, probably. Bob has nominated himself as MVP. I most certainly would not carry. I'm from Belgium. We're just hanging out right now. We kind of finished the main emphasis of the stream today. It's kind of just chilling, talking with chat. Talking about the inevitable death of the Chengdu Hunters, you know, all that good stuff. Proper Kevster Smurf all signed to Hunters, imagine. I don't think it's a question of if they sue. They probably did sue. Birdring wants to be the best hit scan, right? Of course he does. Their most consistent day, Carpe Pine, Aunts, Bird Ring, Side Player. They're all insane. I mean, if you're talking Widow, probably Aunts. Or Pine, because when Pine's on, he's like unstoppable. Kind of like the Aunts pick, though. I'm feeling it. I also heard the Kilo rumor. We were just talking about that before. What happened to Pine? He stopped playing Overwatch. Probably a worthy investment. Leaves the team. Very good. Nice one. Jeez. Yeah, Pine Valorant, true. It's a shame we never got to see him play with Dallas. It really sucks. Just one game. That would have made the internet explode if we got to see Pine return for like one game. Just imagine how many like OG fans would be like, "Huh? Pine's back? Well, time to watch Owl." Who would play the Life Weaver? Imagine playing Life Weaver. Oh, Wife Leaver. Oh god, I misread that. What caused the Hunters to get this bad? Lack of funds. They have no money. None. Zero. Nada. Booyah Inc. is no bueno right now. Yeah, Exy and Pine are two what ifs on Dallas. We got two crazy, like, legendary hitscan player what ifs on the same team in the same year. Pretty crazy, right? Yeah. Aside from that, though, we're basically kind of at the end. I didn't envision the stream being this short, but I don't really know what else to do at this point. We kind of flew through the main emphasis of the stream today. Any Chengdu rumors? No. ATP is my initials. San Diego Hunter scrims? Yes, of course. That'd actually be really fun to maybe do that someday. Like, actually, like, enter some kind of tournament or, like, open division. That'd be hilarious. Someday. When there's less on my plate. When the season starts. Because right now there's lots to do. Lots of scripts to make. Lots of videos to edit. It's gonna be a grind these next few weeks as we wait for Owl, and then you never know what's gonna happen with co-streams as well. Like, there's a lot coming up. There is a lot. It's very exciting, but there's a bunch to do. Could be Haker 2.0, Omegalol. For branding reasons, we'd have to go for a different name. Nah, no one can stop us. Oh, you're just a big fan of the mitochondria. I think Charge will be okay. I mean, you know, maybe Piggy's happy there. Devoid of bronze. You remember watching the Widow tournament? Yeah, a little bit. Preseason 1 is really good. The Vista windows, lol. Yeah, though, chat, I think I'm just about done. I know it's kind of a short stream, but this is kind of all I had planned for the day. Like, I could technically maybe mess around and do something else, but there is a lot I have to get done. There's a lot of videos to do, so I think I'm probably going to call it. I hope y'all enjoyed the stream today. I appreciate all the crazy support with donos, and Math came in with memberships, Thor, Chara, everyone, I appreciate you. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I don't know when the next stream's gonna be. I'm gonna try and really focus on getting videos done. But the moment that I'm free, I'm gonna stream again. If not, maybe some co-stream stuff soon. Hope you have a good rest of your day, chat. Expect another video soon, and peace out.